The history of humanity is an intricate mosaic composed of fragments of the achievements of countless civilizations. Of these, two stand out as beacons at the dawn of recorded history: Ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia. Both flourished in arid lands, dependent on the bounty of great rivers for their sustenance, and both bequeathed to the world innovations that shaped the course of civilization. The question that often arises is, which of them was more advanced? This question, while stimulating, requires nuanced analysis, because comparing ancient civilizations on a linear scale of progress is an oversimplification. It is like comparing different musical instruments, a piano and a violin, for example. Both produce music, but with different timbres, techniques, and purposes. Egypt, blessed by the Nile, developed a unified and centralized civilization under the rule of the pharaoh, considered an earthly deity. The predictability of the Nile's floods provided abundant and regular agriculture, resulting in a relatively stable and prosperous society. This stability was manifested in its monumental art and architecture, such as the pyramids of Giza, which to this day challenge our understanding of their construction technique. Imagine the logistical complexity involved in extracting, transporting, and positioning blocks of stone weighing tons in an era devoid of cranes or modern machinery. It is an engineering feat that makes us question whether our own technological progress is as linear as we imagine. Mesopotamia, on the other hand, situated between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, was a region more vulnerable to irregular flooding and external invasions. This geographic and political instability resulted in a more turbulent history, marked by the rise and fall of several empires, such as the Sumerians, Akkadians, Babylonians, and Assyrians. However, this dynamic also spurred innovation and adaptation. The Mesopotamians developed cuneiform, one of the world's first writing systems, which allowed for the recording of laws, trade treaties, epic narratives, and a vast array of information. The Epic of Gilgamesh, for example, one of humanity's oldest literary works, emerged from this context, exploring universal themes such as mortality, friendship, and the search for immortality, themes that, even millennia later, continue to fascinate us. A crucial distinction between the two civilizations lies in their relationship to religion and political power. In Egypt, the pharaoh was the divine personification on earth, holding absolute power over the kingdom. This centralized theocracy ensured the unity of the territory and the preservation of traditions. In Mesopotamia, although kings also played a significant religious role, they were not considered gods. Political power was more decentralized, with city-states competing with each other for resources and influence. This competition, although it resulted in frequent conflicts, also stimulated the development of new technologies, military strategies, and forms of social organization. It is as if instability itself acted as an engine for change and progress. In the field of mathematics, the Egyptians developed a decimal number system and practical knowledge of geometry, which were crucial for the construction of their pyramids and for the demarcation of agricultural lands after the Nile floods. The Mesopotamians, in turn, created a sexagesimal number system, base 60, which influenced our counting of time, 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, and the division of the circle into 360 degrees. It is remarkable how mathematical concepts conceived millennia ago still permeate our daily lives. Try to imagine explaining to a Mesopotamian scribe that we use their number system to schedule virtual meetings in different time zones. The perplexity would be, at the very least, understandable. In astronomy, both civilizations made important observations of celestial bodies. The Egyptians created a 365-day solar calendar based on observations of the flooding of the Nile and the apparent movement of the sun. This calendar, with its small inaccuracies, was a precursor to the Julian calendar and, later, the Gregorian calendar, which we still use today. The Mesopotamians, with their more systematic observations of planetary movements, developed astrology and astronomy as distinct fields of study, cataloging stars and constellations and searching for patterns in celestial movements. We can imagine Mesopotamian astronomer priests, with their rudimentary instruments, trying to decipher the enigmas of the cosmos, seeking to predict the future or find meaning in celestial events. In some ways, this quest to understand the universe continues today, with our space telescopes and complex cosmological models. Social organization also presented striking contrast. Egyptian society was hierarchical, with the pharaoh at the top, followed by priests, nobles, scribes, artisans, and peasants. Social mobility was limited, but not non-existent, and could occur mainly through military or religious service. In Mesopotamia, the social structure was more complex and fluid, with a greater diversity of social classes and greater mobility, driven by trade, military conquest, and the rise of new city-states. It is as if Egypt were a relatively static social pyramid, while Mesopotamia resembled a dynamic market with a constant flow of people, goods, and ideas. In the field of engineering, the Egyptians excelled in the construction of monuments of colossal proportions, such as pyramids, temples, and obelisks. The precision and scale of these constructions demonstrate a profound knowledge of geometry, architecture, and the organization of labor. The Mesopotamians, in turn, developed advanced irrigation and drainage techniques, essential for agriculture in a region with irregular flooding and arid soils. They were also pioneers in the construction of fortified cities, in the use of arches and vaults in architecture, and in the development of complex writing systems. We can imagine Mesopotamian engineers, faced with the challenge of controlling the waters of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, creating ingenious solutions that, even by today's standards, are impressive for their inventiveness. Metallurgy is also noteworthy. Both civilizations mastered the work of copper and bronze, producing tools, weapons, and ornamental objects. However, Mesopotamia, with its greater availability of mineral resources and trade routes, seems to have shown an earlier development in the metallurgy of bronze and, later, iron. This technological advantage may have contributed to the military success of some Mesopotamian empires, such as the Assyrian. In addition, the political and legal organization also differed. Egypt, with its centralized government under the pharaoh, developed a complex administrative system, with scribes responsible for accounting, tax collection, and document registration. Mesopotamia, with its independent city-states, developed codes of law, such as the famous Code of Hammurabi, which sought to regulate social and commercial relations. This code, with its detailed laws and system of punishments, is a testament to the sophistication of Mesopotamian legal thought. The question of which civilization was more advanced therefore proves to be a complex and, to some extent, inadequate question. Both civilizations made invaluable contributions to human history, each with its own characteristics and emphases. Egypt, with its political stability and abundant natural resources, bequeathed to the world grandiose monuments and an efficient administrative system. Mesopotamia, with its political dynamics and cultural diversity, drove innovation in writing, mathematics, astronomy, law, and engineering. Comparing them in terms of advancement is to overlook the richness of their historical context and the complexity of their legacies. It's like trying to decide whether writing is better than mathematics. Both are essential tools for the development of civilization, each with its own specific purpose. The true value lies in recognizing the interdependence between these two civilizations and the lasting impact they both had on shaping the world we live in. When we look at the majestic ruins of Egypt and the cuneiform records of Mesopotamia, we can see that, despite their differences, both remind us of our human capacity to create, innovate, and leave a legacy for future generations. This capacity, fortunately, continues to drive us to this day. We hope this comparison between Egypt and Mesopotamia has piqued your curiosity. Which of the two civilizations did you find more intriguing? Let us know in the comments. And of course, if you liked the video and want to actively participate in this community of history enthusiasts, subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Your interaction is essential for us to continue producing quality content.